This time on Rad Rat Video, I'm going to be trying a kickflip underflip. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel where I do all kinds of things with skateboarding. I haven't actually done a Tricks and Tribulations for a while because I haven't been able to skate for a while, just with work and all kinds of stuff going on. But today I want to try a kickflip underflip. And I'm filming the intro inside because my neighbors have a ton of company over and it's extremely loud. So just for the sake of you being able to hear me, I'm going to film this inside. I did move my skate pad over a little bit so that it's in the shade now because I don't need to melt snow anymore, so it doesn't need to be in direct sun. So that's going to be a nice help. I am still going to do this at home. This should be a rolling trick. I should be doing it out somewhere, but I'm still not feeling super comfortable going out and being somewhere that's not home where there's sick people. So I'm going to do it here. Depending on how hard it is, I might be able to go do it rolling some other time, but yeah. So I'm going to be trying a kickflip back foot underflip, which is a little bit different. The way that Mullen usually does them is flicks. I'm holding the camera with my left hand, so he's goofy for the sake of argument here. Flips down and then catches it on the way back up, and flips it and then flips it right back with the same foot. And I think that's really cool. I just can't figure out how to do it. I tried a couple where I switch feet and it works. And Mullen does them nollie that way. He flips with his back foot and then catches it with his front foot and does the underflip. So like, it's fine. It's not the ideal method, but it's the way that I want to try today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So my first few attempts here are nothing to write home about, although I had just been trying it right before I turned the camera on. And then right here, you probably couldn't tell, but the front truck came around and hit me right on the ankle. It wasn't that bad, but I hit that exact spot like 10 minutes before. It sucked. The next day my ankle was swollen quite a bit. Right there I kind of got a little bit, like I was able to catch it and flip it back in the air, and it wasn't great looking back on it, but it was at least in the ballpark of the right thing to do. At this point the board is starting to fly out ahead of me. That was one of my attempts at keeping it behind me. I wanted to picture doing it fakie, and when you do a fakie flip, you kind of push the tail in front of you. So I was picturing doing that as a way to keep the board with me. Because the problem is, because I want to flip the board really fast, I have my front foot pretty close to the middle of the board. And so the board wants to be in front of me. When I try to flip it with my back foot, I add in a spin because it's flipping toward where the back truck is and not in the middle of the board. So right here at this point, it keeps happening. I have not once tried to spin it. It just keeps happening that way. And I do get on top of it a few times, but yeah, I definitely want just a plain flip and underflip. And that was the dream trick. I've been wanting to do that trick for a long time. Yeah, hit the old ankle again. I'm telling you, that was rough on my ankle that day. But keep trying it. There was one that looked like it flipped a little bit, and it actually stayed straight. I don't know why it was so hard for me to keep it from spinning frontside. Like no matter what I did, there's one point where I try to do it as a frontside flip, like a frontside flip and then the underflip, and like it doesn't work at all. It has to be, it's just this really weird feeling. But yeah, I'm keeping at it for a while. It's actually super hot this day, and a board where the trick is flying around and potentially landing on your ankle over and over, I felt like pants was probably the right option for me. At this point, I'm pretty much resigned to doing it with the front side varial, which is technically more difficult. Like there's more spins and flips to it, so it's kind of more interesting. And I've never seen it before, so like that's cool. But to me, I've done a lot of stuff like that. Kickflip late front shove, semi flips. I think I've done like a 1.5 semi flip. I don't know, whatever. I've done a lot of stuff that's in that vein, so I would have preferred to do it straight, but it's just not coming together the way that I wanted it to. and I'm also starting to get pretty tired, so I think I'm just gonna go with what's working. The only thing is, like, the board's not gonna land in the same spot. So I've been anticipating it flipping back, catching on my foot, then flipping back forward and being right here. If it spins, it's gonna land a little bit up here. So if I just kinda prepare for that, I should be able to get on top of it before too long. But yeah, I've been super tired lately. I'm going to bed earlier and earlier. Went to bed at like 9, and I'm just exhausted all the time. Skated for like 15 minutes, no, a little bit more, like 20 minutes or so, and I'm like ready to pass out. I don't know. I think I'm deficient in something. I'm not sure what's up. But hopefully, let's get this knocked out, and then I can go pass out on the couch for a while. Unfortunately, as you know from looking at the timeline at the bottom of the video, and I know from living this awful experience, that I did not get the trick very quickly. It's weird because now I'm thinking about doing the spin, and it's making basically no difference. Like every now and then, like right there, I was so upset because I just did a semi-flip. That was it. I'm flipping the board way too early. I'm trying to pause my back foot as much as possible. At some point, I decide to do a double kickflip in the air. That's it. And then while I'm in the air, I'll think about and decide whether I'm going to try to underflip it with my back foot. And doing it that way and trying to make that decision in the air helped me slow it down a little bit. But yeah, here's a part where I try to do it as a frontside flip, and it doesn't work. Like it has to be, the spin has to be late. That one was kind of cool. If you look back on it, it's like a half flip and half varial underflip, so not great. Yeah, I'm having trouble with just the kickflip part because there's so many different things to focus on. You have to focus on, you know, the pop and the flick and the back foot and the pause and where your balance is and all this type of stuff at the same time, and it is just a lot. So I'm thinking about different things on different attempts, and then I can never do it all at once. Looking back on those, the kickflip varial underflips that I'm trying right here, like, it doesn't seem possible to land. They never stay with me. That one was kind of close to me, but like, it's not only not doing the full flip, but 100% of the time it lands way out ahead of me. And I was getting so frustrated by this. Every time my board landed in the grass, that is a 4-foot travel distance. Like, the board flew 4 feet ahead of me. It didn't just kind of drift ahead and I had trouble. No, like, it is in another zip code. It's so annoying. And there was another regular semi-flip. It was like a quarter flip, late shove it, no flip either way. I think I stared off into space for like 5 minutes before I kept going on that. Because at this point, keep in mind, I had pretty much landed one off camera. Not clean or anything, but I did basically do one. And now I just can't. Although it's starting to get a little bit better. I figured out some strategies with where to keep my weight and trying to flip the board as fast as possible, but not do a double flip. Because if you see a double flip, you'll see one in a minute. I do one. There's me trying to keep the board beneath me again. If you see me do a double or a triple flip, my feet aren't that close to the board. So picturing it as a double flip is going to mean that I don't have my back foot in range to do the underflip. So there's all this stuff. I wish I could see this while I'm outside more. It's tough to actually watch the footage back. You know, like I just got a touch screen on my camera and it's just kind of clunky. So I don't usually see how bad these are until later. Fun fact, I wasn't going to record this one because I thought it was going to be too short. When I was trying them just on my own before I got the cameras out, tried it the normal way with all front foot. I tried it switch, and then I tried it the way I've been trying it. And I actually landed on top of 2. I didn't land them, but there was one where I spun front side about 45 degrees or so, landed with my toes on the board, heels down. Like, not close enough to call it a land or anything, but like proof of concept easily. And there's a second one where I landed, I think, front foot solidly, back foot on the ground, but my toe kind of wedged up on top of the board a little bit. Again, not a land, but I tried the trick for maybe 2 minutes before I got the camera, and I landed over 2. And then I started, and as you saw, I got 2 that kind of worked and stayed with me. And then I didn't land those either. And then I keep getting the spin, so I decided I'm gonna try to spin, but instead of making it spin better, it just pushed it away. So then there was one attempt in there where I tried to not spin it. I just tried to do the straight one again, and it spun, and then I got kind of close. And yeah, I'm so tired right now that my legs are shaking between attempts. Like I'm standing on the board trying to get my feet in position, and I'm just kind of wobbling. So that's gonna be it for this time. But I'm gonna try it again next weekend, maybe.
There he is. Hi, Jake. Shake. Good boy. Good boy.
Okay, so it's been a week, I think, since I've gotten a chance to skate. I'm gonna go try it some more. Filming inside again because my neighbor is cutting stuff with his saw and it's very loud and probably ruin all the audio. His dog is also out there and he's probably gonna try to murder me. Since I moved my pad closer to the fence, I'm a lot closer to that dog, so I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. Also, let me show you the progress of the grass. So I planted this over a week ago. I put like 6,000 seeds on there. I've sprayed it down with the hose. It's been raining consistently, and there's not a single sprout. In Michigan, if there's just no dry dirt anywhere, like everything will always grow something, whether it's weeds or, you know, if you plant something on purpose, that'll grow. Here, it's like you gotta do a rain dance or cast a spell or something. I don't know what the rules are for growing things here. I should probably have buried all the seeds carefully, but I'm not used to that. You just kind of just throw a seed in the general direction and there'll be a full tree tomorrow where I'm from. So kind of weird, but yeah, anyway, let's get into the trick. So today I'm actually gonna try to warm up. I normally just straight up go for the trick, but as you can see, took me 3 tries to do a kickflip, so that was not great. And then a double. I'm gonna try for a triple and then realize it's kind of not worth it. But like I was saying before, look at how far away my feet get. Like when you flick that hard, the board doesn't stay right with you. So the idea of doing a triple flip but then catching it and flipping it back is basically not gonna happen. So the strategy that I'm going in with at first does not really make any sense, but I didn't really know that at the time. I don't stick with it for too long. Also, I am really frustrated with how these camera angles look. This camera looks fine, but when it switches back, the GoPro is really dark, although it was fine yesterday. I think the sun is right there, but it's usually fine. I don't have to worry about it most time. And then this camera angle is so blown out that you can't even see the surface. Like I don't know. I put it back in the shade, but as you can see, this time of day, there's a tiny bit of shade back there that I don't even get to use. So it's not doing me a ton of good. Now at this point, you can see my front foot is starting to move forward. And there I kind of landed one, sort of. And they're kind of coming together. So my technique right here, I have my foot much closer to the nose. And I'm trying to drift up over the nose slightly. So I'm focusing on the follow through, and I sort of landed one. Keeping my foot, like focusing on my front foot, and that helps my back foot line up toward the middle of the board. And then I land ahead of where I started, but I do land. So you do see me land a couple of them. I was feeling really good. There was one I land relatively soon where I was done. I stopped, I recorded an outro. I was like, well, I finally got this trick. It was a long road. That one was one of the closer ones, I think, to being acceptable. But yeah, there was one I land and I kick turn, and I was just like, well, there it is, and I recorded the outro, and then I watched it on the camera right there. And I thought that was it. And then I went back and I recorded about a few more attempts. That one felt good. I really wanted one solid where I landed, no kick turn, nothing. And that was possible. The only thing that I don't notice here in the moment is that the board is barely doing more than half of a flip. From my perspective, it looks like it's almost all the way over. And then I hit my camera. Luckily, it didn't do any damage. Well, that camera did shut off by itself a little bit later. There was one, so there's a couple that were clean. Like nothing really wrong with them. They weren't amazing, but I definitely thought that was a counting, it was fine. It was good enough to count. Now that I'm watching it back, that was clearly half and half right there. And I cannot tell you how frustrating it was.
Welcome to day 3. I didn't think there was going to be a day 3 because I thought that was a good landing. I watched it back on the camera, which I almost never do because it's this big, and it's so bright out that it's kind of hard to even see it. But on that screen, it looked fine. And it barely flipped. It was just barely more than half. I don't think I can count that. So I did one that was about 3/4 and 3/4, landed in a kick turn, and it was, if I wanted to call that a land, I think I could make that argument, but I don't want one that's that bad. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to try to do a full flip, full underflip, and if it's like not 3/4, but not all the way, kind of in the middle-ish, like right there, I think I'll be okay with that. But we'll have to see. I'm just really disappointed because I figured out the technique, and that technique didn't really work. So I was trying to flip it really, really fast, acting like I'm doing a double or a triple, and that was not working because the board would fly out ahead of me. So my biggest thing was to try to, focus on the follow through, flick off the nose, and think about my front foot. But then I'm just doing a single kick flip, so it's not flipping fast enough anymore. So I have to merge my two concepts, flip it really fast, but still have my foot as close to the nose as possible. Maybe airtime is a factor. I don't want to pop it too high because the place your foot wants to be in to flip it, you can't have the trick be waist high and then have your foot way down and try to bring it all the way up and then flip it, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to just do what I was doing yesterday and just flip it harder, and hopefully that'll do it. But, let's find out.
Well, guess what, idiot? Not only is that a bad plan, but your camera looks even worse than ever. I mean, look at that. It's like I'm skating on solid snow or something. I don't even know. So my idea was literally do the exact same thing, but just somehow do it better. And I don't know if I underthink or overthink my tricks. I know most people don't sit down and strategize how they're going to do a trick, but I think on these I was trying some front foot only. Yeah, so you see what it looks like when I try to do a normal kickflip underflip. It just does not make any sense. It feels like you can't do it high because you need to catch the board and pull it up in the air, but you also can't do it low because the board won't flatten out. It'll just, it'll rock it, and then you can't underflip it, and then it'll ruin your leg. So I go back to doing my back foot style. Some of them get relatively close, but they're no better than they were from the day before. So at this point, I'm getting incredibly frustrated because I know exactly everything I'm doing wrong at this point. I've watched the footage. I know that my back foot is flicking forward when it should be pulling up. I know that I'm doing that, but I just can't do anything about it. Me kicking forward, if the board was, fully flipped, I would just push it ahead of me. I couldn't underflip it at that angle, but I just can't do anything about it. There's a couple attempts where I think I did a decent job pulling up in the air, but then the board was not where it was supposed to be. So I'm trying to pop different amounts. Is it a really quick high kickflip? Is it a medium low double flip? Do I pop it harder than I jump so that it kind of gets up, you know, compared to my body more? There I just missed a kickflip entirely. It was just like a late heel flip out of nowhere. There's so many different ways that I can attempt this. And I feel like I know exactly what to do, and it's just not working. But I don't know anything else to do. So there was a thing that Rodney Mullen was talking about where you get to a point where you only are thinking about one thing. So where most of it will come, you know, just naturally without thought. So if I could get to a point where I'm doing the right type of kickflip, you know, my weight's in the right place and all that stuff, and I can do it every single time over and over and over, and I get that pause right, and all I have to think about is the underflip, then maybe I could eventually get to it. I'm thinking about trying it a little bit higher now, but having my knees bent more doesn't seem to make it any easier. Clearly, I just don't know what I'm doing with this trick, and I'm feeling like it might be about time to just not bother. I'm trying to see if I could kickflip and land with my foot on the ground to practice getting it underneath the board. I can't see how this trick is possible. I can't do it because there are 5 different things you have to think about. There's shifting your weight forward toward the nose so that your back foot is toward the middle in the air. Popping. There are a few where I focus on different stuff and like the tail doesn't even hit the ground. Like I still have to think about that. I got to think about flicking as hard as I can. I've got to think about delaying my back foot as much as humanly possible. And I have to focus on trying to flip up instead of forward. I know I was doing that the entire time. And like I try to think about it. Because like if the board was flat in the air and I kicked forward, it would do like a late shove it, you know. So I'd have to pull up on it to get it to do an actual underflip. And I know all of these things, but I can't focus on all 5 at the same time. 2 or 3, sure. I tried a bunch of different things. I tried doing them a lot higher toward the end, but like the problem is when your knees are bent already, to like have your knee pretty much bent and then really bent to do the underflip, that'd be a lot harder. So like there's a sweet spot for height to get the trick to work, but I mean, what do I know? I can't do it. So that's it for now. I think I'm done with this trick. Wanted to do it for 20 years. Maybe in another 20 I'll be able to pull it off. I think maybe that 3/4 one is a technical okay. You know, like if someone did a good one in a game of skate and I did that, you'd probably let it slide, but I don't feel good about it. Yeah, I'm going to upload this anyway because there are so many times when I come up with a trick, I get really close, and then I spend like 8 hours never landing it. It happens all the time, constantly. There are tricks where I'll land it off camera, just like sketchy or, you know, toe down or something like that, but good enough to know that it's possible, and then I'll bail it for 8 straight hours. I don't know. But this is a slice of life in skateboarding anyway, so I'm going to upload it as is. Maybe you'll count that, maybe you won't. It is what it is. I can't do any better. So that's it for now. Stay tuned. Maybe I'll try to pick something a little easier. I didn't think this was going to be that hard. Pick something a little easier next time that I can actually land. And stay tuned for more game reviews and other things like that too. Thanks for watching.